I must begin with a note of appreciation for the Penguin team for bringing up this election in an amazingly short time. And you have priced it very comfortably, unfortunately. So, but I think Mr. Leroy will have more to say about this effort from the Penguin because she was more directly involved with the production. Coming to the topic, the content of the book, the volume released today is a collection of previously published articles written independently by a variety of authors. There were no prior editorial advice, no manifesto, no party line. In my view, if anything unites the pieces of this volume at all, it is a deep, overriding concern for knowledge. In most areas of human interest, a concern for knowledge is an absolute value. In the present case, however, the concern assumes specific significance. Consider, for instance, the range of disinformation that currently surrounds the Parliament attack case in the public domain. The editor-in-chief of a leading national daily, who also happened to be a nominated member of Rajya Sabha, positions reserved for people of eminence, I think, wrote recently that Muhammad Afzal should be hanged because he was the first to open fire and killed 3 people. Now, according to the police story itself, not my story, police story itself, during the period of attack, Afzal was in Azadpur Mandi, about 50 kilometers away, looking desperately for a television set that functions. Mr. Arun Jaitley, a senior counsel of the Supreme Court, a leader of the Bharatiya Janata Party, and a former union minister, declared on prime-time television just a few days ago that Afzal should be hanged because he had confessed to his crime and all safeguards for obtaining the confession were obeyed. As a matter of fact, the Supreme Court has set aside the confession as unreliable precisely because each of the safeguards was violated by the police. When makers of opinion and public policy issue such downright falsities, it is difficult to resist the impression that there is a deliberate attempt to mislead the people, unless we assume, of course, that the right-wing eminence is inversely proportional to relevant literacy. A concern for knowledge immediately arises. Turning to a different angle of the issue of knowledge, much has been made of the wide difference of opinion on Afzal's hanging between people in the valley and the rest of India. While much of urban India expressed astonishing thirst for Afzal's blood, a topic to which we should return and return and return, the entire valley burst into protests against Afzal's hanging. What explains the disturbing division of people? There was an ill-concealed attempt in the national media to portray the entire people of Kashmir as essentially irrational, anti-Indian, against the rule of law, and sympathizers of terrorism. Prominent voices, including legal luminaries, held that the sanctity of court judgments and the security of the nation cannot be compromised just because people are protesting in the streets. The real explanation, totally missed in the public domain so far, is simple. As several articles in this volume describe in detail, the people in non-Kashmir India were subjected to one of the most venomous disinformation campaigns in recent years by most of the mainstream media in complete complicity with the police. Muhammad Afzal was portrayed as the mastermind of a diabolical terrorist operation that originated in Pakistan and involved dreaded organizations such as Jaish-e-Mohammed and Lashkar-e-Taiba. This story was presented by the police, argued for by the prosecution, propagated repeatedly in full colors by the print and the visual media, and ratified by 2 courts of law. The prosecution story was transformed into a television film by Zee TV. The film was shown to the Prime Minister and the Home Minister, and the media recorded their approval. In addition, Muhammad Afzal, handcuffed and tied to a chair with investigating officers standing a few feet away with his hand on the revolver, was made to tell this story in front of the national media. Having drugged the nation with this story for nearly 4 years, the media failed to mention that the entire story fell apart as the Supreme Court set aside Muhammad Abdul's confessional statement. In contrast, the mainstream media has little effect on the minds of the people in the West. Not only that, their mainstream media covered alternative perspectives on the Parliament Act case throughout. The people of Kashmir live in Kashmir. They know what happens to surrendered militants, Afzal being one, the role of the security forces, especially the State Task Force, the double agents, the encounters, the disappearances, extortions, the torture chambers. The difference of opinion between the Valley and the rest of India is thus directly traceable to the difference between knowledge and propaganda. However, this knowledge is largely local, intuitive, and experiential in character, born out of decades of untold misery. It can certainly be the cause of rightful anger, as we witnessed in recent months. But by itself, it is an insufficient source of rational and comprehensive political action acceptable to all suffering people, especially those clouded by massive propaganda. The task then is to raise the level of discussion with incisive analysis and acute documentation in order to unmask the propaganda that divides people. So suppose someone were to ask, as someone did ask me in the context of an earlier work on the same topic, what are your hopes for the volume? What do you hope it will contribute or achieve politically? The first thing I hope, and this is also my personal view, the first thing I hope is that the volume will help bring all the political, legal, and humanitarian issues of the Parliament Act case in the public domain with full clarity. Specifically, I hope the volume will create a basis for open debates on otherwise untouchable topics such as Islamophobia, counter-insurgency, surrendered militancy, special laws, special cells, and encounter killings. The writing, publication, and reception of the essays included in the volume show how far we have come from those days in the recent past when even radical activists were not prepared to discuss these topics. The process must continue and expand. Finally, I hope the process develops to the point where the demand for a serious and comprehensive public inquiry just raised by Nirmalangshu, repeatedly raised by the contributors to this volume, will be met by the government as a first step towards reclaiming some of the lost democratic ground. Thank you.